We'll call the Stillwater Planning Commission meeting for October 19th to order. The process this evening will be to call for items on the agenda. The commission will hear staff's report first, then open the public. You can hear it? Okay. The process for this evening will be to call items on the agenda. The commission will hear staff's report first, then open the public hearing and hear from those in favor and/or in opposition to the request. When you come to the podium, please clearly state your name and address for the record, and then after all interested parties have spoken, the public hearing will be closed. We will hear closing remarks and alternatives from staff. With that, we'll get to the agenda, and first item on the agenda is the consent docket. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent docket or remove any items?
I move we approve the consent docket.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the consent docket. We're going to call roll or call roll?
Mrs. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Allred?
Yes.
Mr. Shanahan?
Yes.
Mr. Holgren?
Yes. Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. Moving on to the next item, we move into the public hearings. The first item is CB Enterprises LLC, specific use permit SUP 21-21, requesting review and approval to allow accommodation use in an existing building. Mr. Harkins.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chairman, members of the Commission. Ryan Harkins, Community Development. This is a bit different SUP that comes before you in this case. As noted, it's at 1514 West 4th. The subject property is on the hatch pattern in purple on the screen, as well as the area map in your attachment with the staff report. You can see the subject property here inside the yellow polygon. This is looking along 4th. The particular structure that the SUP is addressing is sitting there in the middle of the complex with the star in red on top of it. Just to give you an idea, this is an existing multifamily complex with a structure in the middle of the property that the applicant is requesting the SUP to use for accommodation purposes.
This is not the right one, is it?
This is a street view of the subject property. This gives you an idea of what the structure looks like from street level. This is the zoning map of the area indicating RMI. And the subject property in this case is in the black hatch pattern. Future land use map indicates higher density residential as a future land use category in this part of the community. This is a close-up showing the subject property inside the black hatch pattern. Questions of staff?
Any questions from the commissioners? Don't see any. Thank you. Is there anyone present that would like to speak in favor?
Good evening, Kelly Harris with Keystone Engineering, located at 923 South Lowry, here representing the owners tonight. This project is really coming before you on a technicality. The property, like Ryan said, is zoned RMI, which that's what it needs to be. This is a multifamily property. The portion that you're looking at tonight is that existing small structure. I believe it's been used as a laundry and then as a leasing office by the previous owners. The current owners that recently purchased the property would like to remodel this structure and use it as a rentable unit. Since it's not attached to any other units, our code classifies this as a single-family home. Single-family homes are not allowed in this zoning district, even though this unit would be rented like the remaining units on the property. We've worked with city staff and feel that the accommodation use will fit the owner's needs. That will allow them to use it as an Airbnb, for instance. So they'll still be able to rent it and wrap it into the rest of the property. you have any questions for me?
Which building is it that you want to be the single-family?
So this is a street view.
Oh, it's just, oh,
It's that
The one with
unit
the
right
door.
there. It's not going to change looks from the outside. This is all an internal remodel. So it's still going to look like what it does, and they'll just be able to rent it now.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Is there anyone else present that would like to speak in favor of the item? Is there anyone present that would like to speak in opposition of the item? Seeing none, Mr. Harkins, could you return and give us staff's alternatives?
Certainly. So we noted in the staff report that the Land Development Code does allow for accommodation as a use in the RMI zoning district, but only with a specific use permit, hence the request for the SUP, because a single-family residential unit is not allowed within the RMI district. This has been done in some other zoning districts with higher densities because one unit has been detached, similar to what you see here. With that said, the alternatives before you are to accept findings and recommend to the City Council approval of the SUP as it's been presented. You can accept the findings and recommend Council approve the proposed specific use permit with conditions necessary for mitigating any circumstances to adjacent properties. You can also find the SUP is not appropriate for the property based on impact to the surrounding vicinity and not recommend approval to City Council. But if you feel additional information is needed, you can ask for this item to be tabled to a date certain. Questions about findings or alternatives? All right, thank you.
Danny, thank you. Commissioners, any discussion? Motion, perhaps?
Madam Chair, based on the information provided by city staff, I move that we accept the findings and recommend to the City Council that we approve the SUP as presented.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. We will now vote.
Mrs. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Allred?
Yes.
Mr. Shanahan?
Yes.
Mr. Holgren?
yes.
The motion passes 4-0. Next item on the agenda is a specific use permit for insignia signs, requesting review and approval to allow an electronic message center at a property addressed as 232 South Main. Mr. Harkins.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Ryan Harkins again, Community Development. This is also a specific use permit before you. This is for an electronic messaging sign at 232 South Main. Subject property is inside the purple hatch pattern. You can see 3rd and Main, so this would sit on the northwest side of the intersection. Subject property in this aerial is inside the yellow polygon, so this would be looking essentially across the intersection to the northwest. You can see from the street level view the existing sign that's in place, which is allowed under current code, but the electronic messaging sign is being proposed at the same location where the pole is. However, when you look at the zoning map, you'll see residential uses and mixed-use residential zoning districts like T5 next to this property, hence the need for the specific use request. Hatch pattern in this case on the zoning map is inside the black hatch pattern. Again, you can see 3rd and Main, as well as the general commercial business, a small area of office, and then the T5 zoning surrounding the property. The future land use map for the comprehensive plan indicates commercial in this location, and you can see that indicated on this close-up and again with the subject property inside the black hatch pattern. Any questions of staff before we open the public hearing?
what type of business is currently adjacent to that sign? That used to be a bank?
Yes, so that's a bank, retail, commercial, financial type of
And
operation.
that will retain that type of
Correct.
function? Okay.
And again, the specific use request is just for the electronic messaging sign.
Correct.
You had some photographs here, and one of them showed the sign as it is today, and another one showed the sign with Great Plains Bank, and then below it was an image that was supposed to represent what an electronic sign would be. Is that correct?
Correct. That's an example of what that sign would look like.
So it'd be just a little bit bigger than what said the ATM,
Correct.
but it would be
Roughly.
electronic, so it could change anytime, all day long. Just
That's
something.
correct.
Okay. On one of the maps, it indicated a monument over on West Third Avenue. I was curious, why was the monument indicated? Was that relevant to this?
I think they were just trying to indicate where their signage was on the property.
There's another monument over there? Okay,
And that sign is allowed by code.
okay.
Any other questions for staff?
All right.
Seeing none, thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Harkins. Is there anyone this evening that would like to speak in favor of this item? Is there anyone present that would like to speak in opposition of the item? Mr. Harkins, if you could return and give us the
Absolutely.
alternatives, please.
Be happy to. So in the staff report, we note that the Land Development Code allows this type of signage with an SUP when there's adjacent residential zoning or land uses in this case. Would also note that the proposed sign is an accessory use to an existing commercial development, and that existing use will remain on the property. With that said, alternatives available to you are to accept findings and recommend the City Council approve the proposed specific use permit as presented. You can accept the findings and recommend approval to the City Council with conditions to mitigate circumstances that you see. You can find the SUP request is not appropriate and recommend denial, or you can ask for a tabling of this item to a date certain if you feel additional information or discussion is needed. Questions about findings or alternatives? All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Discussion among the commissioners? Any thoughts?
Nope.
Madam Chair, without objection, based on the information provided by city staff, I make a motion that we accept the findings and recommended the City Council approve the proposed SUP as presented.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. We shall now vote.
Mrs. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Allred?
Yes.
Mr. Shanahan?
Yes.
Mr. Holgren?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. Next item on the staff is miscellaneous items from staff, planning commissioners, or city attorney for discussion and possible action. Don't believe we have anything this evening. The next planning commission meeting will be November 2nd. And last thing on the item is adjournment. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Madam Chair, move to adjourn.
Motion and second.
Second?
The motion and a second. We shall now vote.
Mrs. Phillips?
Yes.
Mr. Allred?
Yes.
Mr. Shanahan?
Yes.
Mr. Holgren?
Yes.
We are adjourned. Thank you.